The thought indicates that the painful news of the day is created by what we think. But when we invite our conscience to choose every thought for us, our words and deeds will create uplifting and rewarding news. So remember, pain is a messenger. If the news is painful, make a mid-course correction. Those mid-course corrections, of course, always lie within, don't they? Everything flows from the subtle to the gross. So the painful news of the day is created by what we think. But when we invite our conscience to choose every thought for us, our words and deeds will create uplifting and rewarding news. What's the world you choose to live in? Of course, you're free to live in any world. As yoga scientists, of course, we understand that all reality flows from the subtle to the gross. This truth describes the mechanics underpinning the law of karma. As most of us know, the law of karma states that thoughts, which are considered very subtle objects, lead to speech and actions, which are considered gross objects, because everything flows from the subtle to the gross. And eventually, speech and action always lead to consequences. This law of cause and effect, namely that thoughts lead to actions and actions lead to consequences, is as real and as unavoidable as the law of gravity. So I consider thoughts to be analogous to tiny embryos, and our attention to be an incubator employed in the process of creation. When you give attention, your attention to a thought, any thought, that subtle embryo begins to go through an incubation process. And when sufficient attention has been given to that thought, that embryo, a concrete form of the thought object is born into the world. The more you think a thought, the more likely you are to speak about that thought. With sustained attention to the same thought, you're likely to undertake some physical action in the world that can successively create ever more complex relationships, all in service to that original embryo, your thought. Both the words and actions are concrete manifestations of that subtle thought embryo that you nurture every day with your attention. So let's assume that a specific thought comes into your awareness. No one else, of course, is aware of this particular thought, just you. Others, of course, have their own thoughts that you're not aware of. You've received this specific thought now in the present moment. Just imagine, at this point in space and time, you are present in a unique constellation of relationships throughout the universe, right now. And your mind-body-sense complex is the only one perfectly qualified to take some action in response to this particular subtle thought object that now appears in your awareness. So, it comes to you. Your job, your work in the world is to decide what you're going to do with that thought. Of course, we know that every thought is only a suggestion. It's not an imperial command, although many times we act as if it were. If in the present moment your conscience advises you that this particular thought in your awareness will lead you for your highest good, give it your complete attention. This message from the conscience means that you have been chosen from among the billions of people in the world right now to incubate this thought embryo that the Supreme Intelligence, through your own superconscious wisdom, is bringing forth from the subtle world. Your capacity to focus attention on that thought in the present moment, now, is the divine mechanism for transforming the subtle thought object into manifest form. This progression from subtle thought to the more concrete forms of speech, action, and consequence is the process that religions refer to as creation. By aligning every thought, word, and action with the infinite wisdom of your conscience, you become an instrument of the supreme reality in the process of this seventh day of creation. What an awe-inspiring honor and responsibility. Perhaps you've had the sense that some greater force is working through you when you're fully engaged in a particularly meaningful task or relationship. It might be connected to your professional life, or it might have happened when you were bathing your child, or caring for an elderly parent or relationship. It may have lasted for only a moment, but you can learn how to sustain this sense of purpose and meaning in everyday life. How? By inviting your own conscience to choose which thoughts to give your attention to. The painful news of the day is created by what we think. But when we invite our conscience to choose every thought for us, our words and deeds will create uplifting and rewarding news. That's the promise. Your skillful action is the experiment to either prove or disprove this. So our daily meditation provides us two blessings. First, It teaches us how to train the mind, to steward all of our thoughts, all of our words, all of our deeds, in ways that will always lead for the greater good of the one. And secondly, it provides us the transcendent experience beyond time and space, beyond the boundaries of thinking and beyond the boundaries of feeling. We experience our transcendent self. That is a game changer. Then we live in the world, but we know we are not of the world. This is not our home. This is not our permanent home. We are on a journey. This journey should be comfortable and pleasant, not painful. So that pain is a messenger coming to us through the news, telling us that this painful news of the day is created by what we think, what we have thought. But if we can experiment with inviting our conscience to choose every thought for us, just for the sake of an experiment, our words and deeds then will create uplifting and rewarding news. So as I always say, don't believe me. Experiment and know the truth yourself. That will alone bring you the freedom that you're looking for, the happiness you're looking for, the security you're looking for, the health of the body that you're looking for, and the loving creative relationships that you need in this lifetime. The painful news of the day is created by what we think. But when we invite our conscience to choose every thought for us, our words and deeds will create uplifting and rewarding news.